So continuing chapter three, we're continuing off on stigmatizing factors here. I was going to be showing you this video, so I'm going to pull it up right now for you. And here we go. Away we go.
We're going to turn now to that major development involving a home we have reported on here before and the disturbing letters sent to the family who bought it. The family bought their dream home in New Jersey, never moving in after getting frightening letters from someone calling themselves the Watcher. Now the family has finally found someone. I got everyone's attention here. Someone's going to buy that house. Gio Benitez is here with more. Hey, Gio.
Hey, David, good morning. Yeah, for years, so many thought nobody would buy this house because of all that negative publicity with those threatening letters. But this morning, we know the family has finally gotten rid of it by taking a major financial loss. This morning, ABC News has learned the New Jersey family, allegedly terrorized by creepy letters from someone named The Watcher, has finally sold the house that started their nightmare. Derek and Maria Broadus bought this idyllic home in Westfield, New Jersey for $1.3 million back in 2014. But they say a stranger kept them from moving in by sending letters like this. I watch and wait for the day the young blood will be mine again. And I pass by many times a day. You know I will be watching.
I've lived here my whole life, so yeah, it was a pretty big shocker.
Now, 5 years later, the family's selling the property that they've never lived in, that has haunted them for years, taking a loss, selling it for $400,000 less than they paid for it.
So, can a stigmatizing factor affect the value of a home?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Look at this, $400,000 less. Wow.
Paid for it. We spoke with their attorney in the midst of their ordeal.
It's a great house. This is a total tragedy and nightmare for my clients.
The Watcher's letters describing anger about renovations to the home and detailing the movements of the family and their kids.
Sorry, something popped up on my screen that wanted to get updated. I'm trying to cancel it.
One letter saying, all of the windows and doors allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house.
From day one, they've been trying to solve this case. They hired a forensic linguist to take a look at the letters and see if there were any patterns. They scoured the internet looking for clues.
But despite years of investigations, and while authorities did discover some DNA evidence, they never found enough to charge a suspect.
Geez, DNA evidence, and they don't even have a doorbell camera or a security system with video cameras on a house that's almost $1.5 million. They're taking DNA samples out of a freaking wicker basket mailbox. What's going on here?
Our police department conducted an exhaustive investigation. Such efforts have not, however, yielded information leading to charges being filed.
In an interview with New York Magazine last year, Derek comparing the ordeal to cancer, saying, we think about it every day.
They wanted to get rid of the house because they knew it was going to be this burden. They knew they weren't going to move in. From there, the next thing they want, more than anything, is to know who did this.
And we're told the family still lives in Westfield after staying with family a few blocks away from the Watcher house. Now they've bought a new home, and they hope this one brings them peace of mind. But what an ordeal.
We don't know anything about the new owners.
No, not yet.
Hopefully they're not watching.
Yeah.
We want to keep them in that home.
I'm sure they had full disclosure. At least I hope they did.
Whoa, what did he just say? I'm sure they had full disclosure, or at least I hope they did. Who's required to disclose anything there? Is anybody required to disclose anything there? Huh?
Not unless they're asked.
Yeah, no, not unless they ask, because it's not a physical condition, right? So you're not a real estate agent's not required. The owner's not required to disclose this unless they ask. And how would you ask? Is some creeper putting weird, threatening letters in your mailbox? Well, you could always ask this if you are a buyer. Are there any stigmatizing factors associated with this property that I should be aware of? Boom. That covers it all, right? But, I mean, how many people even know this term stigmatizing factor, would even know to ask, We get people that may ask, did anybody ever die in a house? And, they may ask individual direct questions. They wouldn't know. Most people don't know to ask for stigmatizing factors, but this is the way that you would cover all kinds of creepy situations like this and like this one.
We're going to turn out of that.
How about this one? Check this one out. You tell me, would you want to buy this house?
It needed work, but don't we all? When the single-story house with a pool in San Diego's
Let me minimize the videos here so it streams without streams.
Carmel Valley came up for sale, a lot of families wanted it. Married couple Jerry Rice and Janice Reuter got it. This woman, Kathy Rowe, then a 50-year-old unassuming wife and mother, was among those who didn't get the house. That just didn't seem right. At least if you were Kathy Rowe, it didn't.
I had put so much hope into this house. I walked in, it was my house.
Yeah, but it wasn't your house.
No, but it felt like the house I always wanted to own. And when I found out we didn't get it, it was devastating, it was heartbreaking. It was almost like the loss of a loved one. It was that critical to me.
Kathy Rowe had a job with the county, had a very ill husband, she said, and had a Mother of the Year award for being the sole caregiver looking after their severely disabled daughter, Rachel.
Mother of the Year.
It had more significance than just a structure with four walls. When I lost it, I cried and cried.
Kathy Rowe also had enough bank to offer $100,000 more for Jerry and Janice's home. When they failed to respond to the note she sent them, she launched a harassment campaign, stopping their mail, relisting the house on Zillow, sending those phony Valentines. Oh, and at the outset, coming by the house with her daughter on Halloween.
You wanted to see who was in the house, didn't you?
I had no interest in them. I was more curious what they had done to the house.
Who came to the door when you trick-or-treated?
The wife.
The wife, Janice, whose photo Kathy Rowe would later put on this Carmel Valley Freak Show online ad, inviting men to stop by anytime.
I was jealous, destroyed, and devastated with pain and depression and...
Why did that result in your lashing out at innocent people?
That's the form that it took.
You enjoyed this, didn't you?
No.
You enjoyed making these people suffer.
Well, I thought it was funny. I did not view it as suffering.
But when men responded to the ad, Kathy Rowe wrote them back, fueling the fire, providing specific and perverse encouragement to one 25-year-old male looking for fun with a totally unaware Janice.
I'm going to leave out the dirty words here. This is someone pretending to be you. I'm pretty much home all day, every day, bored and incredibly horny. I love to be surprised and have a man just show up at the door and force his way in the door and on me, totally taking me while I say no. Janice, what is the person who is writing this trying to do to you?
She wanted me raped.
This is my wife they're talking about. There's no mistaking the intent there.
Then, for the Rices, the ultimate nightmare. Another man did show up at the house, only Janice wasn't home. Jerry met him at the front door.
He thought he was going to walk in and have his way with your wife.
Yeah, I knew something was off with the guy.
Flummoxed, the man fled and emailed Kathy Rowe. A guy was there, had to make up an excuse why I was there. But Kathy Rowe wouldn't let it go and urged him to return to the house with another sordid scenario.
I remember what you said. It's like, I hope it's okay with you. I see other guys.
Right.
And you ask about threesomes.
Well, he had no interest in being involved if there was any other man involved.
You're the luckiest person in the world because of that, aren't you?
It never even crossed my mind that a man could go to the house and hurt her.
Probably should have, shouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I normally am more concerned about other people's safety and welfare than my own.
Yeah, not so much this time.
Absolutely not this time. It's just how impaired my thinking was.
Kathy insisted we also speak to her psychologist, Sage Breslin, PhD.
Yeah, we need to make some excuses why she was sleep deprived and so her mental clarity was not there and make excuses for this behavior of hers. So let me skip through this a little bit, get past that.
Have resiliency by their support network, by their family, by their friends. I didn't have those.
She was kind of playing Russian roulette with my family, you know. There's no question in my mind she would get the right person at the right moment to come to the house and things would have happened.
Things happened all right. catch, the high-tech law enforcement task force connected the dots between those sexed-up online solicitations in Janice's name and Kathy Rowe's computer.
We identified Miss Rowe through search warrants to Yahoo, and then that led to the identification of the residence.
The Heat paid Kathy Rowe a visit. Eventually, she admitted to it all. Initially, she faced the possibility of 9 years in prison after many months of legal wrangling and a new life as a media sensation.
Kathy Rowe seemed
a major fall from grace. She copped a plea to felony stalking and apologized to the Rices.
All the things that I've put them through, the stress, the lack of privacy, I'm just very sorry.
I think that you said that you didn't want to hurt them. I think that's exactly what you wanted to do, was to hurt them for buying the house that you wanted.
I was sentenced to 1 year of confinement on a home ankle monitor and 5 years of probation.
She actually is going to be watched a lot longer than she would have if she served some jail time.
Kathy continues to have the responsibility for her daughter. Her daughter has maybe 100 to 150 medical appointments on an annual basis. Kathy has lost her job. She is the only person holding this family together at this point in time.
I may be the least liked person in San Diego County. A horrible, evil person who wanted to harm this nice couple. And
in what way is that incorrect?
I did not intend to harm them.
Apologies aside, Janice and Jerry are still afraid.
I believe that Miss Rowe continues to be a dangerous person because of her skills of manipulation and her ability to lie. You know, I kind of think she has more of a reason now to attack us. So, obviously, you know, we're very concerned for the family.
Oh, and speaking of families, Kathy Rowe bought a new home for her family, just 1 mile away from Jerry and Janice's place.
Wow. So what do you think about that? Stigmatizing factor there or what? Oh my God. Would you want to buy that house? No. Jeez. Where you could have strangers still coming up to the door thinking that they're getting some. Oh my God. Oh, that's nutty.
You should have went to jail.
Yeah, you'd think. That is nutty. But that guy even said that if she got jail time, it wouldn't have been that much. She's serving more time being monitored this way, and she's not allowed to possess and use computers and such. So, wow, that's something. That's some crazy stuff right there. So, stigmatizing factors out of the norm, things that you wouldn't even think of, you know, nutty stuff here, huh? So, okay, let's go to off-site conditions. What is an off-site condition? It's anything that's off-site, anything that's not on the property that you're buying. So these are factors that are not on the subject property, that are beyond the subject property, that could affect your decision in wanting to purchase that property, because the city dump is down at the end of the block, or you know, there's you're right next to the airport, or across the street from a cemetery or prison or something. Yeah, or the next door property is a park, and the park is contaminated with PCBs. You know, there's little that you could do. There's little control you have over someone else's property. So because of that, there's a 5-day right of rescission for new construction only when it comes to off-site conditions. For existing properties, when you make an offer, caveat emptor, that means in Latin, let the buyer beware. So you could add that term to your definition list as well. It's not pronounced caveat emptor, it's caveat emptor. It means let the buyer beware. Do your due diligence before you make the offer to purchase. But if it's new construction, if it's due to an off-site condition, even after you sign a contract, you have 5 days to back out due to factors that are not on the subject property. Those off-site conditions only applies to new construction. So how did that come about? Well, in 1995, several developers sued a broker, the developer and the broker, alleging that both had known that the development was located a half a mile away from a hazardous waste dump site. A half a mile. And they failed to disclose this fact. I mean, how far away for stuff do you need to be disclosing? So the trial court ruled in favor of the developer and broker, stating that there is no duty to disclose to a potential purchaser the condition of someone else's property, especially a half a mile away. That would make sense, right? But on appeal, that decision was reversed because not all judges rule uniformly, meaning they don't all rule the same. So the New Jersey Supreme Court ultimately held that conditions beyond the limits of a specific property may be considered material facts that must be disclosed to prospective purchasers. As a result of that decision, let's highlight that there are two disclosures for off-site conditions. This is page 53. There are two disclosures for off-site conditions now included in all contracts. One refers to new construction, the other to the resale of existing properties. The new construction notice includes a 5-day period in which a purchaser can cancel the contract, but the resale notice does not include a similar right of rescission. And I took this screenshot from section 19 of our sales contract that talks about notifications regarding off-site conditions. It says pursuant. This is actually interesting. Many people may be unaware of this. How would you know? What do you got to do? Go driving around the neighborhood or half mile, a mile, 2 miles away? How do you know? Well, pursuant to the new Residential Construction Off-Site Conditions Act, the clerks of municipalities in New Jersey maintain a list of off-site conditions which may affect the value of residential properties in the vicinity of the off-site condition. Buyers may examine the lists and are encouraged to independently investigate the area surrounding the property in order to become familiar with any off-site conditions, which may affect the value of the property. In case of property that's located near the border of a municipality, you should probably check with the city clerk of the neighboring town as well. Here is a rider for when we sell new construction. Here's a rider to the contract that we add on. This is an addendum, a rider addendum. It basically says that as well. And they have to spell out which municipality, the address, contact information, and phone number of, that city clerk's office there. So pursuant to the New Jersey Residential Construction Act, sellers of newly constructed residential property are required to notify buyers of that. Let me see what it was. Okay, we already read all that. Buyers are encouraged to exercise all due diligence in order to obtain any additional or more recent information that they believe be relevant to their decisions to purchase residential real estate. What if it's a proposed thing that it's not there yet? Like sometimes I remember when they were proposing building the incinerator in Linden. All right, it's a garbage incinerator. Instead of having a garbage dump, they were going to build an incinerator. And the pros to that was, hey, all these neighboring towns can pay us to get rid of their garbage, and we could do it at this state-of-the-art incinerator that's got almost zero emission. Everybody was like, no, you can start burning garbage. You're going to smell that. Oh, my God, it's going to ruin the quality of life. Well, they ended up building that incinerator right on the border of Linden in the neighboring town of Rahway. As a matter of fact, they had to move Route 1 and 9. If you guys are familiar there, if you guys recall when they did that a couple of years back, they actually had to move the highway for that incinerator access roads and such for the trucks, to keep the garbage trucks off of the main roads, the local roads. They had all these loops and stuff as exits for them right off the highway. And it actually was a very successful project. The city of Rahway's made a lot of money off of it. And it you guys probably don't even know that it's there or what it is. It's right next to the highway. You never see anything. You never see smoke coming out of that smokestack. You never smell anything at all. It's one of these state-of-the-art, nearly zero emission incinerator projects that generates energy too. And I guess Linden dropped the ball on that one. Instead, we still got a dump. The dump we really don't even have anymore because they converted it to a solar farm. Yeah, right. So yeah, that's working out really well for us. Our energy prices, where are they gone? All right, so buyers have 5 business days from the date of the addendum is executed by the buyer and seller to send a notice of cancellation of this addendum to the seller. The notice of cancellation shall be sent by certified mail. Cancellation will be effective upon the notice of cancellation being mailed. If buyer does not send a notice of cancellation to the seller in the timely manner described above, the buyer will lose the right to cancel this addendum as provided in this notice, so due to the off-site conditions. So this is what that addendum would look like, or that's added into the for the new construction. Look at this sign. I guess you could have a little fun with this business, right? Quiet neighbors across the street. It's a cemetery. What are you going to do? I mean, it's something else. If you're in real estate, you get a listing here. It's across the street from a cemetery. You can't move the cemetery. So what are you going to do? Just have a little fun with it. Hey, the neighbors are quiet. I put together this slide for you. I may have already shown this to you. I'm not sure. But if not, you may want to snap a picture of this slide because I think I did show it to you guys already, didn't I? The rights of rescission. I put together this slide that shows you all the different rights of rescissions in one place, which are spread throughout the book here. So the word rescission is your right to cancel a contract within a given period of time. And all these in the first box up top here, these are rescission periods for sales contracts of real estate. And the box on the bottom, these are rescission periods for mortgage loan contracts. So the sales contracts, they're all for new construction except for the last one, which is a 3-day right of rescission for your attorney review period. That deals with resale of existing properties as well as new ones. There's a 7-day right of rescission for out-of-state properties marketed to New Jersey residents, only for new construction, though. That's like timeshare sales and subdivision sales. There's a 7-day right of rescission for large new construction developments within the state of New Jersey where there's 100 lots or more, or if it's less than 100 lots, if there's common area elements involved, like with condominiums and cooperatives. It could be at least 10 units. And there's a 5-day right of rescission that we just went over for the discovery of off-site conditions for new construction. Now, when it comes to mortgage loans, there's a 3-day right of rescission for refinancing property that you already own. And there's no right of rescission for mortgage loans used to buy real estate. Once you sign on the dotted line, you bought it. It's yours. That loan, you're not backing out of it. So purchase money mortgages are any loan that's used to buy real estate. That also includes seller financing, which is often called a purchase money mortgage. Okay. Megan's Law. Anybody ever hear of this? Megan's Law? Megan's Law alerts the community to the presence of convicted sex offenders in the area. Okay? So it alerts the community to the presence of convicted sex offenders. The county prosecutor maintains a list of where all the known convicted sex offenders live, and it's updated every time they move. They're supposed to check in and notify the local county prosecutor whenever they move of their new whereabouts. Only people who live in the area can make inquiries about where the sex offenders live after they close on the sale or lease of the property. But if we have a concerned buyer or renter that wants to know where the sex offenders are, we could always direct them to the Megan's Law Registry on the state police website. So the New Jersey State Police have a web page for the Megan's Law Registry where interested parties can search to see where the sex offenders are. You could put in your address and it'll show you where all the sex offenders are within a mile of your house, 3 miles, 5 miles, whatever you want to set it at. So here's a little write-up because sometimes people ask, where did this law come about? Well, there was a little girl named Megan. She disappeared. Unbeknownst to her family, she was lured into a house across the street by a sex offender that just moved in. They did not know he was a convicted sex offender. He used a puppy to lure the girl over to his house, and where he sexually assaulted her and then killed her. They were scouring the neighborhood, trying to so desperately find their child. And so they said that, listen, if we had known, we would have checked with that guy first and we could have saved her life. So that's where this Megan's Law Registry, sex offender registry, has come about because of that, because their parents fought for this to be instituted. So many states have instituted something similar to the Megan's Law Registry in their states, although it's quite interesting. Some politicians fight vigorously against setting up a Megan's Law sex offender registry, like in some very blue states on the Northeast coast over here. I don't know why they do that. Why are they for hiding and shielding convicted sex offenders? I mean, the argument that they give is, well, they're being prosecuted twice. Well, screw them. I mean, that's disgusting. You're raping people, you're kidnapping people, especially children. That's you deserve what you get. Now, you get some advocates, they start arguing, well, maybe the guy was 18 and his girlfriend was 17 and the mother found out they were having sex, and so technically that's statutory rape, and then he gets added to the sex offender registry. Possibly. But the majority of people on this registry are definitely not people who are drunk in public exposing themselves and somebody saw it, or because they were dating their 17-year-old girlfriend. Most of these people are hardcore sex offenders on this registry. Okay, they changed the look of this registry a little bit. I still got the link here, but they changed the look of the registry a little bit. But this is the way that it works. You scroll down, you accept the information here, and then you get into the search.
We can't see it.
Oh, no, you can't. Oh, darn. Figures. So this is the Megan's Law Sex Offender Registry. They give you some information here about it. Also, prohibitions on misuse of the registry. So actually, we as real estate agents, we're not allowed to go to the Megan's Law Registry, do searches for people, and create lists of all the sex offenders that live in the area. I understand you wanting to be helpful and great agents, but as an agent, you are not law enforcement. And if you do this, you're just opening up yourself to liability, especially if one person just moved there after you printed this list and then shared it with your clients. They're going to think that you intentionally left somebody off of the list, and you're opening yourself up to liability and lawsuits. All you do is, we're not expected to be the experts in everything, but we are expected to know who the experts are. Okay, the county prosecutor, or you could go to the state police Megan's Law Registry website. Okay, now, if you misuse this registry, if you print out or disseminate any information from this registry, and then the sex offender ends up with a broken leg or something, or broken neck, they're going to come investigating. If you have IP, what do you call it? Those things that prevent people from tracking your IP address. You're not going to get access to this registry. It will not allow you to search because they track you. Okay, they want to track the IP addresses for anybody that's looking at the registry in case some information starts getting disseminated that's not supposed to, or the sex offenders start getting harassed. Okay, you could end up in jail and have fines against you. So you could read about this here if you like. But if you scroll down, you see there's Megan. You could click on I accept. And then you get into the sex offender registry here. You click here to do the search for the sex offenders in your area. I'm not going to click there because you're not supposed to share or disseminate this information. And I'm recording this class and I'm posting it publicly. So we're not going to be outing any of these sex offenders right here, right now. You guys have the link. You could do it. I'll share the link with you in a moment. But first, let's go over the presentation, which shows you how that registry works. Okay. So the presentation starts off by showing you that 45% of sexual assault victims are under 12 years of age. That is horrifying. 75% of victims know their attacker, and 80% of all addresses have at least one sex offender within 1 mile of their home. Doesn't matter where you live, what kind of neighborhood it is, everybody's got at least one sex offender within 1 mile of their home. And more than half of the rape and sexual assault incidents happen within 1 mile of the victim's own home. Sex offenders cross those socioeconomic boundaries, living both the richest and the poorest of neighborhoods. So our obligations as the police here, the state statute sets provisions for registering sex offenders and notifying the public now because of that whole Megan's Law being instituted. Offenders' whereabouts are verified at regular intervals based on their risk level. And information collected for law enforcement purposes can also be used to enhance the community awareness. Public notification process begins within 48 hours of the offender being found guilty, and all their information's added into the system. Okay, here's just some information on their website here. They have some tools where you could set up yourself for email notifications by putting in your address and saying, hey, anytime a sex offender moves to the area, I'm going to get an automatic email notification, so you don't have to be constantly scouring the website. That's one option here. So you register for email alerts. This is the way that it looks. You put in your address and it pulls up the sex offenders within a certain distance. And it pulls up the guy's picture or the sex offender's picture, their name, their height, their weight, their tattoos or distinguishing characteristics, all that information, the address where they live, the car, the vehicle they drive, the license plates numbers. It has all kinds of information, including what was their what was the sex offense of their case. It goes into the details of what they did, and it ranks them as by what kind of a danger and likelihood they are of reoffending. So you could sign up for those email alerts to get notified anytime. Like if you set it a 1 mile range, you could set up so that anytime a sex offender moves within 1 mile of your home, you get an email alert sent to your house, sent to you.
I used to be a teacher, and we had to sign every time someone moved into the town that we were aware.
You had to do what?
We had to sign off that we seen the sex offender has now moved into that town.
Well, why do they care about that?
You had to be able to visually see his face or her face and then sign off on it if you were a teacher.
Oh, just like in case they came to the school or something?
I guess so.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this is that registry on the state police website here. Let me get back to it. I'll share with you guys that link. This is you could put in your address. And I'm sure you're all going to be a little bit shocked when you see how many sex offenders are in your neighborhood there. It's been a little while since I searched mine, so let me search mine. I'm just not going to do it on screen. Hold on, let me take it off the screen there. You guys put in your address there, okay? Let me put my address in. Let's take a look and see. Okay, within 1 mile of my house, I have 5. And it goes into the details, got their pictures. Yeah, they look like sex offenders too. At least the ones that live near me. You know, they don't always look like bad guys, but ones by me, oh yeah. Look at these freaking characters. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, every single one of them look like creeps. Even the 2 mile range. Okay, let me stop with that.
I have 5.
You have 5 as well?
Yep.
Yeah. Shocking, isn't it? They all look like creepers by you too? I mean, sometimes you don't know. It could be a normal looking person, you know, but I don't know. All the ones that I looked at, I looked up to 2 miles away, and then it brought up like 20, and they all look like they're the typical bad guy. You can't tell just
One looks like a nice, like if he would be a nice little grandpa. I'm super
yeah, right. So you never know.
And the tier is what, how much?
The tier ranking is the danger that they pose of and the likelihood of reoffending.
Okay.
Okay. Scary stuff, huh?
It's very scary. I'm actually reading one of them, and it says registrant sexually assaulted 2 9-year-old girls on separate and multiple occasions. The victims were family friends of the registrant, and they're living like half a mile away from me. It's scary.
Yeah.
I have 11 in my area, but I'm not surprised because I live in East Orange.
Well, they're everywhere. You know, the sex offenders are everywhere. You know,
and they look like sex offenders.
Yeah, same by me. I looked. That was my first impression when I looked at them. I was like, oh yeah, none of these people look normal. They all look like they're kind of messed up. All right. So anyway, we need to know for exams. What is the law that alerts the community to the presence of convicted sex offenders in the area? Megan's Law. You need to know that for exams. Okay, so let's do the highlighting of that now, Megan's Law.
The grandpa I mentioned, it's actually went against 2 family members of his, 2 boys of his own family members. That's crazy.
Well, look, these people are all over the place. Look, Westfield, New Jersey. You see what's going on right now in Westfield? The chief of police, he's sexually harassing other male officers. And that's the uncle of the kid that was accused of murdering those 2 girls in, was it Cranford or Clark? Ran over those 2 girls after he was stalking one of them for a while, and the mother filed 3 separate police reports against him. But then again, his father was a cop as well, and all these, and then the uncle's the chief of police in Westfield. No wonder why nothing happened when she was filing her reports. You know, the family members, the child of one of them, they do nothing, and then the kid goes in beyond stalking and then runs them down. Seems like a little psychopath. Allegedly. Sorry. You gotta put that word out there like I'm on the news, so nobody sues me. All right, so you guys just highlight this. The first sentence there. Megan's Law requires the community be alerted to the presence of convicted sex offenders. And buyers and lessees can obtain this information from the county prosecutor after the sale or lease of the property has closed. All right. I have the links down here because I don't think that this link works anymore. Is that the same link? Megan's Dash Law. Friender. Yeah. Okay. Now this one still works. Wait, does it? No. It's nj.gov, NJSP. Actually, this one may work. I'm not sure. But this is the one that I've been using here. And this one. So you go directly to, and yeah, I think they redid the link. njosp.njoag.gov/nj-sex-offender-registry. I think that was the one that I went to. Let me click on it and make sure. I'll make sure we got the right links. Yeah, that's the new link there. So let me also adjust that in my notes. I have notes of all kinds of corrections, a couple pages of corrections to this book. And I guess that's another one of them. Got room to write it. Let's see. This is, what page is this? 53. Page 53. Correct that. Megan's Law Registry link. I'm making all kinds of notes for the book manufacturer here. I kept telling them that I'd help them with some changes. Okay, so everybody's got that. Moving on. Misrepresentation. We got to learn about different types of misrepresentation, but let's start off with puffing. Puffing, okay? We're not talking about Puff the Magic Dragon here. We're talking about puffing as an exaggeration as part of salesmanship, and there's nothing wrong with it. You guys should be puffing. It's part of salesmanship. My, isn't this the most beautiful kitchen you've ever seen in your life?
You
It's
have
an
to change the
exaggerated
screen.
state. What's that?
Change the screen.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you guys haven't, sorry. So you guys got these highlights here? Okay. So puffing is exaggerated statements of opinion. It's done as part of salesmanship. You're going to be salespeople. So it's something you should do. You know, it's part of selling it. You know, you got to sell it, that product. You got to sell it, right? My, isn't this the most gorgeous kitchen you've ever seen in your life? It's an exaggerated statement of opinion. It's your opinion. Everyone's got an opinion. You know what that's good for, right? Look at this beautiful backyard. It's like your own private oasis back here. Oasis? That's a bit much. Well, that's puffing. That's puffing. Look at these gorgeous floors. They're so clean you could practically eat off of them. Not eating off of anyone's floor. These are exaggerated statements of opinion. Okay? So the word puffing, familiarize yourself with that. Is there anything wrong with it? No, you should be doing it. It's part of salesmanship. As long as you don't do it in a way that you're trying to mislead or deceive somebody. Intentional deception is called fraud. Fraud is intentional misrepresentation intended to harm or deceive. Then we have negligence. These are unintentional misrepresentations by someone who should have known better, like you, the real estate licensee. Always trust but verify as well. Don't pass along information that the property owner just tells you without verifying that information. Otherwise, the public, they look to you as the professional. They assume the information that you're disseminating is accurate. So don't just go passing along any information the owner gives you. I've had situations where I was at the getting a listing, and I'm at the sitting at the kitchen table there, and the wife leaves the room for a moment. She walks back in as the husband's telling me, yeah, the roof is practically new. It's only about a year old. And the wife walks in and she's like, "What was that you were saying?" And he's like, "Oh, I was telling him how we replaced the roof, and it's only about a year old." And she smacks him in the back of the head. She said, "What's wrong with you? That's got to be at least 5 years ago when Jimmy got married." Oh, how time flies. Now, if I just took that information that he gave me and I ran with it and I put that in an ad, that's very specific. Roof is only 1 year old. Okay. That's very specific information. Okay. Now I'm opening myself up for liability because that's my negligence. I should have verified the information by asking for a copy of the building permit or maybe a copy of the contractor's bill or something that shows that the roof was replaced and when it was replaced. Otherwise, I could go out there and take a look at the roof, see if it looks new, and then I could say it's a newer roof. That's very subjective. There's no specific time frame there, right? But still, even with that, you better know what you're looking for to know that it's newer. Yeah, newer than the house.
I had a question. So the townships now, because that's what I do. Townships now use a new system called STL system, where all the permits go in. How, as a realtor, can we check if if they say they got a new roof, for example, we can simply just go into the system and check. I think anyone can make an account and check these SDLs. Is that allowed?
I don't know. Send me the information. First I hear of it. I know they need to file for permits with the city. I didn't know there was a database that we could search for. If there's that case, please do send it along to me, forward it along.
Every township has gone pretty much digital now at this point, and everything that goes with the home is in the STL system. And you make an account and you put in the address, and it gives you all the permits that are open and closed and all the.
Is that just for builders, though? Do you need to have a builder's license for that?
No, homeowners can go in, or just at least if you're just transmitting a permit, or if you're a homeowner, or if you're anything, you have it's
That's good information. If you could please forward that to me, I'd appreciate it. Because otherwise, short of going down to City Hall yourself and to the building department, the old-fashioned way, that's the only way that we would do that. And they wouldn't even share the information with us unless we could show that there's an actual contract on the property. Sometimes people at City Hall are not so cooperative. Okay. Just in case you've dealt with them a little bit, you may have come across that sometimes. But I've dealt with nightmare cases like this before. I remember I sold a house. Well, it wasn't my listing. I had the buyer, and we went in to buy this house, getting a great deal on it. We were buying it directly from the builder. As a matter of fact, the builder was living in it. He built the house 9 years ago, I think it was, and didn't close out a single permit. Not a single permit that was open on it. Everything from the foundation to the framing to the electrical, plumbing, nothing. So how do you sell a house and how do you close out? How do you close out permits when the house is done? It's done. How do they see behind the walls the electrical was done right, the framing was done right? Now we got to start cutting open sheetrock and stuff in order for them to be able to try to look behind the walls, or they just tell you to tear down the whole thing, which is a possibility. Municipalities can have you remove any structures you built without permits. So that was a nightmare scenario, but a little begging and pleading and trying to be nice to the clerk there got me a long way. So don't take on attitude with these people because it could backfire on you majorly. But I ended up getting this property. It was some tough negotiations. They wanted $385,000 or $395,000 for the house. It was a 4-bedroom, 3 full bathroom house. It was in Keensburg. And it It was a really nice house. And I negotiated with them. We negotiated down a little bit. But then when it came time to get the appraisal in, the appraiser came in and said 190 for the value of the house. I was like, all right, this ain't gonna work. There ain't no way in hell the seller's gonna accept 190 on this. But they did, because it was a short sale, and it was up to the bank anyway. So I still submitted the offer, and I told the guy, I was like, listen, the appraisal came in at 190. I was like, this is a short sale anyway. The seller can't walk away with a penny of profit. Just forward it along to their lender and see if they accept it. And they did. So my client got this 9-year-old house, 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, huge. It got the 10-foot ceilings in the basement. Really nice house, $190,000. I was like, shit, if I knew that, I would have bought that house if I knew the price was going to go down like that. But that was actually one of my agent's sons bought that house. So anyway, so why was I acting as the agent on there and not my agent? Because it was her son. Because when it comes to short sales, the banks will not pay out any commission to a family member that's involved if they're purchasing that property. I can understand the seller not profiting from it, but why not the buyer or the buyer's family member? But anyway, so I stepped in as a stranger and I acted as the agent on there. So, and I was able to get the commission on it. So a innocent misrepresentation is the next type. That's the false or misleading statements by someone not expected to have expertise in the subject matter in the first place, kind of like the property owner, right? So these are the 3 types of misrepresentation you must know. My slide puts this together very nice and neatly because, look, I'm just going to give you a fast forward really quick. I'm going to go to the next slide before I got to back this up, though. Look, this is what you're highlighting in the book. Okay, and then the 3 types of misrepresentation. This is what it's going to look like in your highlights. Or this. If you want to snap a picture, snap a picture. Anyway, what are the ways to avoid misrepresentation? Well, trust but verify any information before passing it along. Never present opinions as facts, and don't lie. Simply sticking to the truth, right? And always refer questions to the experts. You don't need to be the expert in everything. People got questions, legal questions. Well, we'll have to ask your attorney about that. People got questions about the property's condition. Well, we need to check with your New Jersey licensed home inspector or surveyor or appraiser or title company, pest control, pool companies to inspect the pools, By the way, I have a link here for New Jersey licensed home inspectors. And what is this link? This link is going to take us to the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs, where you could verify someone is an actively licensed inspector. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go to license type, and we're going to look up home inspector. There we go, home inspector. And we'll just search everyone. But you could put in their name or license number to see if they're actively licensed still. Okay, so here, as you can see, popped up inspectors' names, the status of their licenses, their license number. See, this guy's expired, this one's active, and this is where they live. These are the areas where these inspectors live. Look, some of them are in New Jersey, some are in New York, some are in Pennsylvania, but they're licensed to do inspections in New Jersey. And you got to check the status of the licenses because some can be active, some are inactive, some are expired, some are pending. This guy's been pending forever, so no license number. But just take a look at how many home inspectors there are here. And that's 40 pages of inspectors like this. And there's more. Let me see how many pages there are of inspectors.
So, do we find the inspector for a buyer?
70 pages of home inspectors like this. If you have a list of inspectors for their convenience, sure, you could use that. But once again, I would never personally recommend anybody as a home inspector, or any type of a professional for that matter, any type of inspector, any type of professional, attorneys, anybody. Anytime I provide a list to people of they're not suggestions for professionals. They're not suggestions or recommendations. I just provide it in a list of, I'll have a printed sheet with all kinds of inspectors, attorneys' names, etc. It's for convenience purposes only that we provide this list. These are companies or professionals that our clients have used in the past and we're happy with. They did a good job. Past performance is not an indication or guarantee of future performance. So please do your own due diligence when selecting a professional, whether it's an inspector, attorney, what have you. And that's what I do. I make sure I put on there that disclosure that we do not personally recommend anyone. So this way, if they do a bad job, that it's not going to come back and bite us in the ass because you're the one that recommended them. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Our clients used them in the past. We provided this list for convenience purposes only. Past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. I have these full disclosures on the sheet that I wrote. Okay, so you make up a Word document like that, put those disclosures up top. This list is for convenience purposes only. These are professionals that our clients have used in the past and they did a good job and our clients were satisfied with them, but past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. So please do your own due diligence. We do not recommend anyone personally. Okay, that's the way I do it, so it don't bite me in the butt. Okay. So, here, let me give you that list. Let me give you that. So this is a list of home inspectors, or you could search the license status of home inspectors here. That's the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs. Okay. And then if they want to know about taxes, how's this going to affect my taxes, this investment property? Well, we got to talk to your accountant, CPA, or tax attorney, or with regards of getting that rebate. What about safety? Where are the sex offenders at? Well, I could direct you to the county prosecutor's office, but they're not going to share the information with you until you actually close on the transaction. But if you are interested, you could go to the state police website and check out that Megan's Law Registry. And then you can share that link that I just shared with you. Okay. So listen, all this information I'm giving you to teach you about this stuff, if you guys can add it to your notes, you could eventually put this stuff on your websites and put together your little articles or blogs or video blogs, what they call them, vlogs, about this stuff and show people how they could use this to help the consumer. This is all now custom information that you created that's on your website, which gives you higher ranking in the search engines now on your real estate website, and it's all real estate related stuff. That is good for the rankings, and that'll drive more traffic there, and then you get more clients there. Look, even if you get people that do inquiries to you and they're nowhere near the area where you work, maybe they're even from different states, you could always give them as referrals to another agent in a different area and still make money off of it, right? So even if somebody calls you because of your websites or an article that you wrote somewhere or a video you made somewhere, you could still get leads off of that. And if they're not in the area that you service, you could give that as a referral business and make money off of it still. Couple $100 for what? Filling out a form and making a phone call. Hey, you want some referral business? Boom. Couple $100 in your pocket. Not a bad deal. All right. Anyone who wanted a screenshot of this, got it? Otherwise, I'm going to change this slide. All right. So here, now we can start doing our highlights here on page 53. This is at the bottom of the page under misrepresentation. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody got that? All right. Then we'll move on to the next one, page 54. Top of the page, 3 types of misrepresentation. Fraud, which is intentional misrepresentation intended to harm or mislead somebody. So right at the top of the paragraph on the page there, 3 types of misrepresentation, because there's no title there. This just carried over from the previous page. So deliberate lie intended to mislead someone is called fraudulent or intentional misrepresentation. Then we have negligent misrepresentation, which is unintentional, covers false statements made by someone who should have known better, like us, the real estate professional. You know better, trust but verify information before passing it along. And then you have innocent or honest misrepresentation. Those are false or misleading statements made by someone who's not expected to have expertise in the subject matter to begin with, like the homeowner. Now, anytime, like when we have them fill out the seller's property condition disclosure report, and it asks sometimes like for age of appliances and things of that nature, you guys know how to check out the age of an appliance, like a hot water heater or a furnace. You could actually look at the tag on it. There should be a metal tag with a serial number. Sometimes it's stickers. We're not expected to be home inspectors, but we still should go and try to verify the information that our clients provided for us for things on the house. So let me show you an example. Here we go. I got one here from Ace Hardware.
Lou Manfredini, Ace's home expert. Not sure how old your water heater is? I've got a tip on how to know exactly when it was made. All right, on your water heater.
By the way, you guys can see the video, right? I transferred you. Yes. Okay.
You're going to find a sticker somewhere that has a serial number and a bunch of information that you think is really not important, but it actually is. I want you to look at the serial number of your water heater. As an industry rule, the first 2 numbers actually are the year that the water heater was built. Now, in this particular one, you'll see that it's a 1 and a 9, so it was built in 2019. Now, something that many manufacturers are now doing is they're actually including a built date. So this unit actually has the month and the day that the water heater was built. Now, keep in mind, water heaters can be built but not installed on those particular same months or years. So that's kind of a shot in the dark there. If you live in a home that you're really not sure how old your water heater is, and this particular unit is a 2019, well, there's a good chance that it got installed in 2019, but that's not always the indicator of how exactly old the unit is. But
But at least you get an idea. You know, it's good to know how old it is because water heaters do not sit on shelves in stores for long periods of time because they get surface rust that starts to build up on the inside of them, and that weakens the walls, which then are filled with water. They're heated up, so they're under pressure, and so if they get too rusty inside, they could weaken it to the point that they could explode and they'll fail. Um, this is why it's important really to look at the year of the water heater. But you know, these water heaters, if you maintain them properly, there's a way that they could last well beyond their expiration date, or not expiration date, well beyond their life expectancy. And it's an interesting little thing that they actually put rods. There's a rod that goes right inside of the water heater. It's a big metal rod, and this rod is meant to collect any minerals and such that stick to it and rust the rod away instead of the walls of the lining of the water heater. So technically you could just go in there after years and years, and the proper way to maintain these water heaters is you flush them out once a year to flush out any sediment that may have collected in them, and then you that every couple of, well, not every couple of years, it could be many years, you would unscrew and take out that rod, and then you could replace the rod that's inside of them. A lot of people are unaware of this, but this is a way that you could keep a water heater practically forever. But this is one of the things when home inspections get done. Home inspectors just look at the build date on there, and then they say, oh, well, they got a life expectancy of 7 to 10 years or something like that. And they say, if it's past that, well, your water heater is well past its life expectancy. So then they try to renegotiate and get the seller to replace the water heater, even though it's still working perfectly fine, or give a credit so that they can. But we refer to this in legal terms as cosmetic de minimis, and we are not going to be doing any replacements for cosmetic de minimis. That means things are still working. They're just past their life expectancy. One way you could also try to avoid that is by convincing the seller to offer the buyer a 1-year home warranty with the sale of the house. So that even covers the water heater. So if the water heater should blow in the next year, boom, you're covered. All right. I mean, what do you want? A lifetime warranty on this house? Come on.
It's pretty close. As a rule of thumb, the national average for the life expectancy of a tank water heater is about 10 years. So when you find that number, do the math. It's always less expensive to change a water heater on your own terms than in an emergency situation. And that's it. If you need more information, you can always go to our website, acehardware.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay, so that was a pretty neat little video here for you. Remember that rod I was just talking about? I'm just giving you guys some useful information, maybe even for your own houses here. I think I have it here. How to flush your water heater. Water heater age. I know this is not about the rod. Maybe I have that in my own notes somewhere. Well, if I find it, I'll share it with you. Either way, it's I don't want to get too far behind here. Let's get caught up on the class. If I find it, I'll share it with you. I'll look later. So you guys can see the slideshow again. All right, let me make sure. Yes, you can. Okay. Let me throw out the morning attendance poll here, by the way. I threw that out yet. Nope. All right, I got half of you that answered it. Come on, everybody. Wakey, wakey. Eggs and bakey. 2 more folks. Answer the attendance poll, please. Got 2 more need to. Wakey, wakey. Well, I can't see who it is right now until after the poll's done, but I can find out by looking through the records who's here and who's not. This is why I do these attendance polls. If you guys can answer the poll, there's one. Shouldn't be begging everybody to answer the poll. It means that you're not paying attention. Come on, one more. See, this is why we're also required to have those cameras on to know who's here and who's not, who's paying attention, who's not. All right. Well, one more. There you go. Thank you, Sweta. Shwana, you there?
I'm here. I just have I have a cold, so I look
Did you answer the poll?
I did answer the poll.
Okay, I got somebody who didn't. All right, whatever. Poll is ending in 3, 2, 1. You missed it. All right, so I give you 2 minutes for everybody to answer that poll right there. Somebody didn't.
I'm sorry, I missed the poll.
Oh, where were you? All right. Gotta answer those polls. Gotta stay up on there. Okay. So all right, let's continue on here now. The liability for criteria for being found guilty of misrepresentation. For the agent to be liable for misrepresentation, there has to be a false or misleading statement or a concealment of a material fact by a person who knows or should have known that the information was false, with the intent to deceive or defraud, or if there was no such intent, the effect was still to deceive or defraud, and damages are suffered by the party who relied on that information that we provided. So it's relatively easy for an agent to avoid intentional misrepresentation simply by sticking to the truth and not lying. But omissions and half-truths can just as readily misrepresent. So actual misstatements and the offense may be committed inadvertently. Let me see. But omissions and half-truths may misrepresent as readily as actual misstatements, and the offense may be committed inadvertently. The buyer looking at a rural property may be told that the septic system works well, when in fact it does not. You as a real estate agent should never say that, by the way. How do you know the state of the septic system? So if the agent knows the true state of affairs, intentional misrepresentation had occurred. If the agent does not know the condition of the system, the potential buyer is still being misled by negligent misrepresentation. You should have known better. You got to get it inspected. You got to look at the maintenance reports on that septic system. When's the last time it was pumped out? Anybody here not know what a septic system is? Everybody here knows what a septic system is? Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. So a septic system is your own private sewer system in your backyard, or it could be in the front yard. It's basically a big tank that's buried in the ground close to your house. And all the water, all the wastewater that leaves your house from the toilet, from the shower, from the sinks, it goes into this tank. Solids will sink to the bottom, sludge, greases float to the top, and the liquid, which they refer to as the effluent, stays in the middle. And every gallon of water that flows in, 1 gallon flows out of this tank and then goes through perforated pipes into what we call a septic field. And it then gets filtered out into the ground, into the soil. And then there's natural bacteria that would kill any harmful bacteria. You should also, in order to keep a septic system running properly, you flush down the toilet, or you could pour it into one of the access panels in the septic tank. Bacteria, I'm not sure how often you got to do that, every couple of weeks or once a month. There's good bacteria that actually break down the solid wastes. that go from like your toilet into the septic system. So it doesn't need to be pumped out that often. And then what you get is that it's actually like a vacuum truck comes over and it pumps out and sucks out all the sludge and solid wastes that may be building up that the bacteria did not break down. So it's important to have that healthy bacteria in there that break down the solid wastes. If you start using antibacterial soaps and things of that nature, it could kill those useful bacteria and cause your septic system to fail. And cost you tens of thousands of dollars to replace it. So this is what a septic system basically is. It's your own private waste treatment center in your backyard or front yard, wherever it is, under the ground. So the half-truth may mislead in a statement like septic systems are normal in this area and there's probably nothing for you to worry about. While that may be true in itself, it skirts the issue in a manner that may be misleading to an ignorant buyer. And no mention at all of septic systems could be misleading, particularly to urban buyers who don't know what a septic system is and assume public sewers are available everywhere. Look, Edison, Piscataway, these areas, they're either suburban or even in some cases urban area. You would think that all the homes in these areas, Edison, Metuchen, Piscataway, you would assume that all these homes are connected to public sewer systems and water supplies, but they're not. There's many homes that have septic systems and well water still. So we need to know this so that we could disclose it to potential buyers. It's material information about the physical condition of the property. Could that affect your decision in purchasing a house if it's on well water and septic system versus city water and city sewer? You know, septic systems take a little more attention. You have to maintain them. But you won't get a sewer bill from the municipality. That's a plus. You don't get a water bill from a water company when you got your own well, but there are costs involved with maintaining it. So the fact that the broker did not know the condition of the system will be of little defense if brokers in that community should have known about such matters. Even if the intention was not to defraud someone, the buyer who purchases a property and discovers a septic system to be faulty had suffered damages, they could seek to recover them from the broker. That means you. In recent years, buyers and sellers become increasingly aware of possible dangers posed by things like radon, lead paint, asbestos building materials, toxic pollutants, urea formaldehyde from the spray foam insulation, it's referred to as UFFI, and other environmental hazards. Licensees should be able to direct their clients and customers to websites and local agencies in order to gather information about these issues that are important to them. So among other areas where problems frequently arise is when real estate agents make statements like, property values are sure to go up 10% in the next year. How the hell do you know that? There's no way for you to know that. You don't got that crystal ball. The judgments have been all cleared up, or no problem hooking into the public sewers. Are you sure? Boundaries, they got questions about the boundary lines of the property, the zoning and size. In a case in another state, a buyer of a house that contained 100 square feet, not just in another state, this happens in New Jersey too, but they're giving an example here that a buyer of a house that contained 100 square feet fewer than the listing agent stated in the listing, well, they got a judgment against them where they had to pay that property buyer the cost to build another 100 square feet of house. This is why in New Jersey, most agents, you do not quote square footage in their listings. We get people all the time. They're like, how come agents never say what the square footage is? They do in the other states where we come from, and then we come to New Jersey, no agent even quotes the square footage. because we live in a litigious society of people who are sue happy. They love to sue people when you're off a little bit. Like take a measurement of your room, right? From this wall to that wall, from that wall to this wall. You multiply one by the other, that's the square footage of the room, right? But what if there's like a chimney or a HVAC shaft that goes and there's a little notch cut out in the wall that protrudes into the room? That couple square feet over there, you need to subtract from the overall square footage. And if you don't, then you're misleading the person about how much square footage that room has. So imagine now doing that to the whole house. You need to be exact with this. This is why real estate agents do not quote square footage. And just even saying, oh, it's approximate and not guaranteed will not save you from a lawsuit. Okay. So I never quote square footage. I'll say what the room size is, and I'll say it's approximately this. Even though I took a laser measure to measure the room size, I'll tell people what the approximate room sizes are, but I won't ever quote the square footage of an entire house. Not unless I have an architectural blueprint right there, and the blueprint says what the square footage of the house is. Short of that, sometimes tax records will say the square footage of the house, but they've been notoriously wrong too, the information in tax records. So I'm not going to pass along that information without verifying it, right? Trust but verify, even tax records. Okay, so to avoid misrepresentation, absolute statements should be avoided. Requests for information should be met by referring the questioner directly to an expert source. Sounds like it could answer a question on an exam sooner than later. Hint, 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 hint. It's on page 55. Okie dokie. All right. So this is what a cutaway of what a septic system would look like. Close to your house, here's the main pipe, that main waste pipe from the house. Goes into, this is a 2-compartment septic tank. Has 3 access panels at the top of it. You can see the waste comes into this tank, the solids go to the bottom, the sludge and greases float to the top, and the effluent is in the middle. It will go into there's a wall here, separates the 2 sides, the water passes on to the next side. You shouldn't get any solids in this side unless it starts getting built up over here a lot, and then it'll start coming in. And you really should have screens installed here to prevent any kinds of solid waste from going out into this perforated pipe that goes out to the drain field. Because if you get solid waste that goes in there, it starts clogging up the pipe and then you get issues. Okay. I'll have a video in a later chapter that shows you how septic systems work. Okay, so I'm not going to get too deep in my explanation here, but just showing you how the cutaway looks. Here's another cutaway of it. It's not just one pipe that goes out. A drain field consists of a bunch of pipes. So that all that water, for every gallon that comes in from your house, goes out into the tank and then gets spread out and then goes in and sinks through the ground, and the ground will filter out the waste. Here's some pictures of the tops of the septic systems. They got those access panels. Sometimes people bury them under dirt and they got to try to find them and dig them out. And then it's filled with all kinds of nasties. And here's that drain, here's that vacuum truck that'll come in and looks like an oil truck, right? But it's not putting anything in the ground, it's sucking it out. You see, here's a 3-access panel for the septic system close to the house. There's the nasties that they're sucking out of there. This one is well past its time for being serviced. So apparently there's one even here underneath the front porch or back porch or whatever that is. Now, how often should that septic system be maintained and pumped out? Well, it depends on the size of the tank, it depends on the family size, and it depends on if you have a garbage disposal or dishwashers that also contribute to the family size. So look, if you have 4 people in your family and you got a 1,000-gallon tank, every 2.5 years it should be pumped out. But if you got a garbage disposal, add another person to the family size, and a dishwasher, add another person. Let's say you got both. Now you got 6 people, so now it's every 1.5 years it needs to be pumped out. That's just a guide that I found online there for maintaining septic systems. Okay, here's just a basic, how do you get public water to your house when it's not provided from a well, but public water? Well, they come from the water treatment, the water treatment plants, and through a pump system, which will pump the water under pressure to houses. Often you have water towers. You guys ever see water towers in town? Wonder what they do? Well, these pumps will pump and fill up the water towers with water, which can hold millions of gallons of water in them, so that you don't need to have electricity constantly running to keep water under pressure when people open up the faucet. Do you know how you get water into your house? I know you know, when you turn that faucet, it comes out and you expect it to come out. Boom, it better be coming out or I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be yelling at the water company. We become so spoiled in society today, we don't even know how that water gets to our house. Through pipes. I turn the little thingy on the sink and the water comes out, right? Well, some people it comes out higher pressure, other people it comes out lower pressure. How exactly does that work, Well, through pumps and water towers, through the weight of the water itself at high elevations, that could build the pressure up even more, because a gallon of water is about 9 pounds, maybe a little bit above 9 pounds. So at higher elevations, that even puts more force that when you open up your faucets, boom, it's already under pressure. Okay. So in times of demand, when everybody's taking a shower or washing the dishes, or if there's a fire, you have that water supply on standby that's already under pressure. Okay, we also have a New Jersey Consumer Fraud Act, in addition to the Sherman Antitrust Act, that prohibits misleading, false, and fraudulent scam practices. And there's fines up to $10,000 for that. Sherman Antitrust Act, that's the one we need to study and know about. And we got that on the bottom, page 55 here, right? It makes price fixing illegal. It makes allocation of markets illegal, but it also makes bid rigging illegal for auctions. But I didn't even mention that on this slide, because you'll probably just get on exam price fixing, or maybe, possibly, rarely a question about allocation of markets, but it'll most likely be about price fixing on your exams. So illegal price fixing occurs when agents from competing firms, not within the same firm, but from competing firms, discuss with each other the fees they charge the public in an effort to set an industry standard on commission rates or fees. This has actually been popping up a lot lately. I've been watching news programs and all kinds of TV shows, and even websites have been going on lately, and they've been talking about the anti-competition of price fixing. They weren't talking about Sherman Antitrust Act or anything like that, but they were talking about the act of price fixing. Oh, just yesterday, I'm a licensed notary public as well, and as a notary, there's standard fees that we could charge for notarizing documents, but you could also be a signing agent as a notary for like signing on mortgage documents when people are refinancing, to make sure that they sign in all the places, right? So instead of a mortgage rep or an attorney, you could get a notary that goes out as a signing agent to get them to sign in all the proper places. And they were talking about, as an industry, we should not be discussing with each other or asking what's the standard rates or fees that you charge so that we know how to do it if you want to get into this for extra money on the side there. They tell you this could be construed as price fixing. So they didn't spell out their Sherman Antitrust Act or anything like that, but that's what they were leading on to. Because I was just dealing with it yesterday because I had to renew my notary license. So I did it online, and they have all those disclosures there. All right, agents should immediately disassociate themselves from the slightest discussion with the competition about commission fees or rates they charge the public. And penalties are severe, even though it's a misdemeanor crime. They're violating the Sherman Antitrust Act is punishable by up to $1 million and up to 10 years in prison for an individual, and upwards of $100 million or more for trade groups and corporations, etc. And it is possible that you could be held liable for 3 times the actual costs of damages. So those who have suffered a loss due to such activities may recover triple the cost of the damages plus attorney fees. And if in an ad you want to brag about offering low commission fees that you charge the public for the services, we're not talking about price fixing to hold the prices up higher. You actually want to brag that you offer low fees. Well, if in an advertisement you mention a commission rate or amount, you also must qualify it with a statement that says, in New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable. And that should be no smaller than the font size used in the ad, the average font size used in the ad. So it should not be in fine print. It says, in New Jersey, all commissions are negotiable. That just shows that you do not engage in the illegal practice known as price fixing. So you guys should already have this highlighted, right? Bottom of page 55.
Yes.
You don't? Highlight it now. Let me know when you have it. Sherman Antitrust Act and these was made to outlaw things as price fixing and allocation of markets and rigged bidding at auctions. To prevent these anti-competitive activities. Anti-competition drives up prices for the public. But each individual company is allowed to set their own prices for the fees that they charge for the services performed or the products that they supply. Which, if anybody was watching the gubernatorial debate last night about for the New Jersey governor, one thing that Mickey Sherrill kept saying, which was blowing my mind, the first day in office that I take office, I am going to mandate a price freeze that utility companies cannot raise prices. Well, first of all, she shouldn't have agreed to pass legislation to allow them to raise the utility rates. Should have started there. But anyway, now she's saying that she's going to freeze the rates so that they can't go up. But can she even do that? Her opponent was saying you can't even legally do that. Even the people within your own political party are telling you can't do that. And let me ask you guys, from what you learned so far, can a government tell you how much you can charge for your services you perform? No. They could just tell you that you cannot work with the competition to try to set an industry standard on the services you perform to do anti-competitive behaviors. So just based on the information that we learned right now, we learn, see, I like associating this stuff with current events, so that you guys can get a better idea of what's going on out there, just based on those statements that she said versus what we're learning right here, right now, it's BS. There's no way that she can stop them from raising their rates or if they want or not. She could stop them from colluding with each other for trying to keep prices up high artificially, if that was what was going on, but that's not what's going on. So interesting little thing. I just like to show you how what we're studying and versus how it works in real life. Okay, so everybody got this? We're good to go to the next slide?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So then we continue on to the next slide, and violations occur only when competing firms agree to act together in these matters. And under the Sherman Antitrust Act, people who fix prices or allocate markets can be found guilty of a misdemeanor, punishable by a maximum $1 million fine and 10 years in prison. So make sure that that stuff is highlighted too. See, all this stuff is on my slide that I put everything in one place. But over here, it's spread out all over. And the allocation of markets and customers here. Here they talk a little bit about bid rigging. But you just need to know these basics that I have highlighted. Three, two, one. All right, so ethics, liability, and disciplinary offenses, breach of fiduciary duties, failure to observe standards of care, conflicts of interest, all these things we've already discussed a bit. We may have a little bit more of it before the end of this chapter, but we've already discussed a lot of these things. Misrepresentation, we already went over types of misrepresentation, right? We have fraud, we have negligence, and we have unintentional or innocent misrepresentation. And any effect if somebody is misleaded or harmed by your misrepresentations or false or misleading statements, you could be held liable, right? Numerous offenses may result in fines or suspension or even the revocation of your license. So we as real estate agents, we need to carry errors and omissions insurance. In case you make a mistake, that's an error, or you omit something mistakenly from a contract, that's an omission. It's kind of like the equivalent of the medical malpractice insurance a doctor would carry. Okay? There is no insurance you can get, though, if you intentionally break the law. Just in case I get caught, it'll cover me. Okay, there's no such insurance for that. Okay. Errors and omissions, these are for innocent mistakes, right? And problems. You need to know this. E&O insurance, well, you need to know it because that's an insurance you're going to need to pay. Your brokers are going to bill you for it. You need to ask them, how much do you charge for E&O insurance when you're interviewing with brokers? Do I got to pay it all up front, or will you take it out of my first commission or out a little bit out of each transaction?
Is it something that has to go through the broker, or can you quote that on your own through a
Your
agent?
brokers are going to want to make sure that they always have that policy in place.
Okay.
So you're going to probably have to get it through your broker. And you could always get your own insurance too, but how's your broker going to know that you're always paying the bill and it's all? So your broker will carry the policy for X amount of agents in their office. So your name may not specifically be on the policy, but the brokerage is covered for X amount number of agents in their office. And so the broker would just bill you for your share of it. Okay. Commonly, most brokers just charge everybody $600. But I've seen it range anywhere from $450 to $600 on average. More than $600 is excessive. Okay. I can only see it being that higher than that is if your broker started having lawsuits against them, or, look, $600 is even an acceptable range for if it's a new brokerage because they have no history or anything. So it's a risk to the insurance company. So they'll charge around that. Well, the policies can be more than that, but that'll be like the charge for each agent. Remember, because brokers also have agents, they come, they go. you're not going to get a refund for, I wasn't here for the full year. Can I get a refund for my balance on the E&O insurance? No. See, the brokers, they charge you this $600 because, or whatever the amount is, and they don't give a refund or prorate it at all, because they may buy a policy and the policy states, okay, you have to pay for 10 agents, and the next step up from 10 agents is 20 agents. So if you have 10 agents and then the broker hires one more agent, now they got 11 agents, but they got to pay for insurance for 20. So they got to make that up somewhere, and they do that by not rebating the agents that leave and doing prorations, because they got to make up for their losses that they pay out of the pocket. Okay, as a broker, I know how this works on the back end, so I'm just sharing with you. But there's a lot of way that these insurances can be set up. These insurance policies, they can be set up where you just pay per transaction a small amount. Right? Maybe $75 per transaction that you do. But the problem with that is the more work you do, the more transactions you do, the more expensive it gets. And that seemingly cheaper way to get into the brokerage by starting with that per transaction policy, once you become a halfway decent agent, it goes well above $600. Okay? Because each side of the transaction, $75 here, $75 there, $75 here. You know, pretty soon you're well above $600 already. All right. So E&O insurance is the real estate industry's equivalent to medical malpractice insurance a doctor would carry. We're all humans. We all make mistakes, so we need insurance in case we get sued. Your broker will add you to their policy. And this does not just cover E&O insurance that your brokers carry, usually also covers like open houses and other things of that nature. They usually have additional riders on them. You know, in case something gets stolen at an open house and maybe the homeowner didn't have insurance or their policy didn't cover it, at least will be covered through our E&O policies. So you get billed by your broker. So ask them how much do they charge and when you got to pay it. It's important, especially if it's $600. That's a big nut to carry when you're just starting. And you guys should avoid dual contracts. What are dual contracts? Well, when you get a buyer and a seller and they agree to purchase a house for $400,000, it goes off, they both sign the contract, it goes to the attorneys now. And then the mortgage rep for the buyer is going to want a copy of that contract. So you send them a copy of that contract for $425,000. Ooh, that's dual contracts. It's mortgage fraud. You're trying to get extra money out of the lender. You're only buying the house for $400,000, but you're applying for a loan for $425,000. Okay, that's fraud. Okay, so it's a good segue to this next one: ethics. If you're dealing in dual contracts, you have no idea what this word means. Ethics, these are two standards. These are standards that dictate the moral principles addressing two sides of a profession: how an industry's professionals treat each other as professionals, and how licensees should treat the public. That's a good definition of ethics. Can you do something that's unethical but not illegal? Sure, you sure can. Okay, so let's actually, you don't even need to highlight it, but if you wanted to, this is the definition. You know, the moral principles address two sides of a profession. They put standards for integrity and competence in dealing with the consumers of an industry's services, and they define a code of conduct for relations within the industry among its professionals. And most professionals have a code of ethics for their members. Like the physicians have a Hippocratic oath, even though many of them have been violating that tremendously in recent years as they experiment on children with all the gender blocking, puberty blockers and gender surgeries, altering surgeries that are irreversible. It's basically mutilation of these children. I don't know how their licenses have not been revoked for violating their Hippocratic oath. but either way, it is what it is. So, and then the attorneys also have their code of professional responsibility. So all industries have some sort of a code or standard of ethics that they need to follow. And the Realtors Association has been around since 1913. They created their own code of ethics that we needed to adopt, and it's been evolving over the years. Now, when did New Jersey first require real estate licensing? 1921. So the Realtors Association, we realized that there was all kinds of, like snake oil salespeople out there, the slimy salespeople type, that are just going to try to take advantage of the public. So we created our own code of ethics that our professionals should follow, because we saw that there was a need to police our own, because there was no state requirements and no state authority from the government that was policing it. So that's how the Realtors Association came about, to try to not destroy our new business here as representing people in real estate transactions. All right, here I got a bunch of links and resources for classes and realtors organizations and all kinds of good stuff here. Here's the links to realtor.org or nar.realtor. That's the website for us as professionals. Realtor.com is the public's website to search for real estate. The Realtor Code of Ethics has been around since 1913, and we need to take these training classes every 3 years now. It's been changing over the years. It used to be every 4 years, and it changed every year. Then they changed it to every 2. Now it's every 3. So the Realtor organization, they don't know how long they want it. Right, as of right now, we need to take it every 3 years. Okay, and this code changes every year, periodically. As technology changes, as the times change, it has evolved. Back in 1913, there was no internet. Right now, one of the parts of the Realtor Code of Ethics is you can't go registering the domain name of your competitor and then have it pointing to your own website. That's an unethical thing to do. So it's a violation of the Realtors Code of Ethics. So if you're a member of this organization, you need to abide by their rules. So I have a link here to the Realtors Code of Ethics on their website, and it takes you right here. You see 2025 Code of Ethics. It changes every year. They update it. This year they did quite a few updates. And just like our state of New Jersey made a couple of scrambling here with some changes before the governor changes out, our Realtors organization tried jumping on the same bandwagon. I started arguing about this, that this is going to be a huge infringement on your First Amendment right, your right to free speech. The Realtor organization likes to make sure that their agents abide by a certain code of conduct, their standards. They don't want you they want you to treat the public and everybody with respect and all that. But you may have your own personal beliefs on certain kinds of topics, like I was talking about before with the gender issue, where you have transgenders and all this stuff, right? Well, the Realtors Code of Ethics was trying to implement your free speech when you're not working. If you make any statements publicly or in social media, they wanted to be able to kick you out of the Realtors Association or fine you if you say anything to the contrary of this, regardless of your argument, if it's against your religious beliefs or what, or your standards and norms. Okay. So they decided that they weren't going to put it in exactly in that kind of a language, but you could still see they now color coded some recent changes that they did in the 2025 Code of Ethics. And some of it touches on that just a little bit, but short of in your own personal time, in your own social medias or your free speech. Although I could foresee them trying to do this in the future now, trying to monitor it. So the yellow changes have been made as of January 2025, and the ones in pink have been changed as of June 5th, 2025. So you see there's different revisions. So they did a lot of revisions apparently in the Realtors Code of Ethics now. But you will have to take this class within 45 days of your joining the Realtors Association. Whether you take it for free online, you could take it, I think there'll be a link at the bottom of this page, or right here, Code of Ethics training. You could click on that and you could take it online for free once you become a member. And then, okay, so you become a member, then you got to take this within 45 days of your joining. Okay, or you could take it in person locally. The local associations usually charge about $15 for you to take the class in person. Okay, so there's different parts of the Realtors Code of Ethics. You got the preamble, the duties to the clients and customers, duties to the public, duties to other realtors, and then they have some examples here. Okay, I'm not going to go through the Realtors Code of Ethics. This is not about training classes for the Realtors Code of Ethics. Okay, so
this is different from the continual educating, right?
Yes, this is different than the continuing education requirement for your real estate license. However, you could have some Code of Ethics, Realtors Code of Ethics training classes that you take that will also give credits towards your licensing if the education provider mixed in some other ethical topics. Okay, because this is only about the Realtors Code of Ethics. So here, that's the Realtor COE Code of Ethics. Share that with you, that link. But yes, you could see on this page, I got links to a lot of stuff. So there's the direct link to the Code of Ethics training class. Here's a link to NAREB, that's the African American Association of Realtors. You have New Jersey Realtors, that's a state association. You should know that one, njrealtor.com. They got a lot of great resources on their website, like this one I have a direct link to, which is their legal resource library. It's a database. So if you ever have any questions, is this legal? Can I do this? Can I do that? The New Jersey State Association of Realtors actually has a database, a legal resource library of questions that agents have asked, and they have their attorneys answer them. But if you start getting very specific about specific transactions, they'll tell you to consult with your own attorneys on it. But they also have a legislative issue section because they deal with helping shape legislation within the state, especially things that deal with the sales or rentals of real estate. New Jersey Realtor tools like NARRPR.com, although that's not just for New Jersey Realtors, that's included in your New Jersey Realtors membership, but this is from NAR. It's called NARRPR. There's a mobile app for this as well. It's an excellent tool. I can open it up. If I'm standing in front of a house that's listed for sale and I open up this app, it'll automatically pull up that house's information for me, the listing information. I don't have to even touch the screen to do a search with the address or anything. It just uses the GPS and it notes that I'm in front of it. It'll pull up the property information. It's really cool. But it got all kinds of information. You could do CMAs on there. You could do property research. You could look up tax records and information. It's a really cool tool. You could also merge search, like you could do a search within it. And if you're a member of many MLSs, you just plug in all the logins for all the MLSs you're a member of into this tool, and when you search this through this tool, it searches all of those MLS's data all in one shot. It's a pretty neat tool that's provided. It's included, no additional charge other than your realtor membership dues. Okay, as well as, and then they got a blog here that shows you how it works. I'll pull up that in a second. And they also have this New Jersey Realtors, the state association. We also get access to our contract form system. Now, this is a domain name that I bought, NJR Forms, for New Jersey Realtor Forms. It's easier for me to remember than njrealtor.com/ I think it's zip forms. Okay, but it's a longer link anyway. njrealtor.com / zip forms. I believe that takes you to the contract form system. That's a direct link. But I just bought this domain and I pointed it there as a shortcut. See, if I click on that. Yep, see, it forwards to njrealtor.com / zip form. That's all it is. I have it just forwarding there. So it's easier for me to remember. So that's why I bought the domain and I forwarded it there. And this is our digital contract form system, our electronic contract form system, where you can set up electronic signatures and all that jazz, and it's included, no additional cost. They have upgrades and features that you could buy, but it's basically the basic zip forms you get for free. It's included in your realtor dues. And I told you I was going to click on this NAR RPR tool here. Check this one out. This is a good resource for you. I'm sharing these tools with you in case your brokers don't, which they probably won't. So you can visit the RPR website directly here, or let me see, if you scroll down a little bit, they got a little bit of a training video here somewhere. Where is it? Show me the training. Is that it? Learning. Oh no, they got all kinds of tools for how to use, plenty of videos and walkthroughs on how to use these tools for all kinds of areas of real estate too. Like even how to use those Crexi tools for commercial real estate and other tools. How to win listings, do presentations, etc. They got videos that show you how to use RPR for your advantage. Let me go to the RPR website. Yeah, here we go. The NAR RPR website, here's where the video is that I want to show you. If you click on this, you could watch this video.
At Realtors Property.
Hold on, let me make sure that you guys are seeing it. You are. Let me go full screen. There we go. And let me go off.
Resource, we know that every Realtor's goal is to be successful, maybe even wildly successful. To achieve that goal, you need to be closing deals. But it can be difficult to differentiate yourself from the competition, and that can lead to second-guessing yourself. RPR can help you overcome that feeling and stand out as a realtor. That's why we built the nation's largest property database exclusively for realtors, with the ability to search both residential and commercial properties right from the homepage. RPR is a real estate data platform that was designed with you and your success in mind. Its user-friendly and inviting interface allows you to keep tabs on your market areas, conduct powerful, intuitive map searches, farm for prospects, and create a variety of professional-looking reports that you can send to your clients in an instant. RPR isn't a magic button that solves everything. You still have to put in the work and effort, but it is flexible, easy to learn, and provides realtors with access to data, tools, and reporting to help you find clients, impress them, and bring them to the closing table. Because your hard work should lead to success. RPR can be accessed online at narrpr.com and by app on both iOS and Android. RPR Residential covers every corner of your real estate business, from working with buyers to listing presentations and open houses. Quickly access everything from school, tax, foreclosure, and mortgage information to demographics, mapping, flood zones, historical data, and so much more. RPR Commercial provides realtors with a central source of information to target locations and access consumer data for business sites. With one place to access properties, perform research, and conduct site selection analysis without any high premiums, commercial practitioners can stay at the forefront of trends to help attract and retain clients. RPR's Learning Center is where you can get started and learn more. Just go to blog.narrpr.com/learning and choose the specific topic you're interested in, and then narrow down your options. You can then choose your own way of learning, from comprehensive webinars to quick video tutorials, printable guides, and in-depth ebooks. While you're on the blog, don't miss our tips and strategy articles, realtor success stories, and decoding real estate, our podcast that breaks down topics and trends critical to your real estate business. Also, be sure to subscribe to the RPR YouTube channel. It's an easy way to learn more about RPR features and tools and stay current on updates and improvements. And for our new members, we have curated the best of the best under our RPR New Member Toolkit at blog.narrpr.com/new-member. RPR is a benefit of the National Association of Realtors and included in your member dues. Wow your clients and close more deals. Log in to RPR today.
So it's a pretty neat tool that we get for no additional cost. You know, why not use it? So I like to share that with students. All right, what else we got? I told you about the NAR Legal Library here. The New Jersey Realtors Legal Source Library. That's right here. If it'll open, there we go. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. This requires a login though. So, but it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool resource once you become a member. So you could submit new questions here, or you could search the database for other questions. And they have a latest list of topics of questions that people already submitted on, and top categories and latest questions that people submitted. For sale sign, property not in MLS, landlord party, rental, okay, LLC insurance, Okay, what about prepaid rent, or when's an offer accepted? Can they have no more showings? Seller's property condition disclosure statements, condition disclosure statement. Let me see. When to disclose rebates to buyers. Question about the fire extinguisher and certificate of inspection. Since acting Governor Cody was put in place years ago, when he replaced McGreevey, when he bowed out because of his scandal where it came out that he was married, but then he had a gay lover, and then he retired out of it, and then acting Governor Cody took over for him. I forget what year that was, but when that happened, Governor Cody was visiting schools, doing fire safety, and talking to children about fire safety, because there was a rash of outbreaks of children reaching up on the stove, getting covered in grease and having a grease fire, and the mother's immediate response is to throw water on them to try to put out the fire. Worst thing you could do for a grease fire. So it actually just inflamed the grease fire, right? Made it worse. So a fifth grader suggested, how come you don't just pass a law that requires a fire extinguisher in the kitchen? Novel idea. He passed a law that required a fire extinguisher under 10 pounds, that's easy to handle, rated to put out A, B, C type fires. Now, recently, out of the blue, for no particular reason, our current governor, on his way out the door, he's like changing all kinds of laws and blowing stuff up behind him, creating new taxes and all kinds. Anyway, I'm going to get into that. He did away with this now. For any state inspections, they no longer require the fire extinguisher in the kitchen. However, local municipality fire inspectors, I have found, still do require the fire extinguisher be in the kitchens. Okay. So even though he just did away with the requirement for the state requirement for fire extinguishers, your local municipality still has one. So let's see. The state law require portable fire extinguishers in order to obtain certificate of occupancy or other certificate of inspection under the Uniform Fire Safety Act. Well, they did until this year where he got rid of that. So you see, people can ask questions like this and they could get their answers here. And it shows you on February 3rd, 2025, Governor Murphy signed into law, which updated the fire safety standards. It removes the requirement for the necessity of portable fire extinguishers. Okay. And then they get into the details of it. But there's questions on all kinds of topics. You guys can look up either existing questions that have been here and just peruse through them. See, they got questions about the brokers' protections on commissions for procuring causes. Let's see what that one's about. A buyer, since we already went over some of this stuff, a buyer terminates a BAA. I don't know what the heck a BAA is. Buyer's agents and their offer is not accepted but held as a backup. The listing agent reaches out to the buyer's agent to see if a backup buyers are.
That's not a buyer agent agreement.
I guess it could be, but we call them brokerage service agreements, the BSAs. So BAA, I guess that's their own spin on it, though, because we have exclusive buyer's agency agreements, but they're built into the brokerage service agreements these days. So I guess they're just using their own terminology on it. So the listing agent reaches out to the buyer's agent to see if the backup buyers are still interested in the property because there are issues with the offer that was accepted. If the backup buyers are now working with another agent still within the protection period, does procuring cause stand up when the protection period is over for this home, or do the buyers just need to wait out the few days left of the protection period to proceed with their new agent? So this question falls outside the scope of New Jersey realtors because they're asking specifics on a particular transaction. They're basically telling you to consult with your own attorney, but they do give some kind of an answer. They say, however, pursuant to this section of the realtor's exclusive buyer agency agreement, for the protection period to be in effect, the parties must have agreed to a specific time for the protection period to be in effect, and brokers must have provided the buyer with a list of real estate that the broker introduced to the buyer within 10 days of the expiration or termination. When a broker is the procuring cause of a sale, after the protection period is over, will be determined by the various factors in the specific real estate transaction. Therefore, it's recommended you consult with your own brokerage attorney. Okay. How about this? Can you charge rent? Can rent be prepaid by a tenant in New Jersey? What do you guys think? Can a tenant prepay rent in New Jersey? You know, like the first month and last month's rent in advance?
I would think so.
Let's find out. Any prepaid funds held to secure future rents are considered to be part of the security deposit. This includes the last month's rent. It does not matter how the prepaid funds are labeled. The courts have determined that advanced rents in excess of 1.5 times the monthly rental payment violate the security deposit law. See, this is just another way people try to get around the law. They relabel it, they rename it, they come up with different schemes. So the landlord may only require 1.5 times the monthly rental figure as security deposit and the first month's rent at the inception of the lease. The landlord may not require more than 2.5 times the monthly rent at the inception of the lease. This includes the security deposit and the first month's rent. Let me ask you a question. Can you charge pet security? Can your landlord charge pet security for you if you got a pet?
Yes.
As long as it does not exceed the 1.5 times monthly rental figure as security deposit. So if the landlord initially only charged you 1 month's security, they could charge you up to a half a month of pet security. Otherwise, if they already got a 1.5 months security on you, it doesn't matter how they label it, as pet security, as just in case my deadbeat tenant don't pay my rent and damages my apartment security. I mean, that's what security is, right? So it doesn't matter what you label it as. The maximum allowed by law is 1.5 times the monthly rental figure. Pet security, if you call it first and last month's rent in advance, it's still security in the eyes of the law. They can't charge it in excess of 1.5 times the monthly rental figure. That's the law in New Jersey.
Does that apply to commercial as well?
No.
Okay.
Commercial real estate, they could charge as much as they could get away with charging you. It's not uncommon to charge 3 to 6 months security deposit, months rent security deposit, depending on the term of the lease, how long the lease is, right? I've paid 3 months security deposit for renting commercial property before. Yeah.
One more question, sorry. Does this law apply when a homeowner rents out directly or only when real estate rents out?
No.
Realtors.
The
That's
homeowner,
the law for homeowner as well.
the law for everybody.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So, but you see how, look, there's now on the side, if you look, there's a bunch of, I just want to introduce you guys to this database and how useful it can be to you. You know, when you got those questions, you could actually look it up and see. And there's even related questions, or you could even look, have a follow-up question to this question. You could click here and ask a follow-up question to this one and get it answered. You know, so it's pretty useful tool. It's called the legal New Jersey Realtor Legal Resource Library. Here, actually, let's go back to the slideshow. So you got it here. I got all these resources on this page here. If you want, I could copy a couple of these links and share them with you, but you're not going to be able to access this library just as of yet until you get your membership.
Can you put that link on the chat for me, please, if you're able?
Yep,
The one
yep.
we were just on?
Yep. But once again, you're not going to have access to it just yet until you get your membership in the Realtors Association, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to take a couple of those links that I just went over that have good resources on them, and I'm going to share them all with you in one post here. Okay.
I know one of the classes, I think it was Monday, you mentioned that once we go in with a broker, they provide us these obviously we pay for them, but we go with whatever MLS system they're with. And that's so we get these memberships through the broker we go with, right?
Well, you can join if your broker's a member. Now, that's for the MLSs. These are the realtor associations. You're going to join whatever local realtor association your broker's a member of, but you will also be a member of New Jersey, the state, which is offering these tools.
And we can do the membership. Okay.
Okay, we finish your question. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I'm sorry. Can we join that on our own, or do we do that? Okay, we do that through the broker.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're a realtor associate. Okay. So you're associated to the realtor. So through that association, you get your membership. So your broker will make sure that you get signed up for this. That's one thing they'll definitely do, is they'll make sure you get signed up for the Realtors Association. As far as these tools, your broker may or may not know about them, or because they may not use these tools. So they may not introduce you to these tools. And these are things you'll have to find out on your own. But you don't have to find out on your own, because I am here introducing them to you because I want all of my students to be successful. So I'm giving you guys all kinds of tools, not relying on your broker giving them to you. Okay. Now, there's a bunch of training classes you could take through realtors organizations because they're big on training, because that's how they make a lot of their money, on training and selling their designation courses to us. And once you get a designation on your license, you got to pay them every year to keep the designation. Now, that applies to most of the ones that are through the realtors organization, but some of them, like the CDPE, the Certified Distressed Property Expert, that's not a realtor's designation. That was created by Alex Sharfrin in the Sharfrin Institute, which now he sold it to someone else, so somebody else owns it and runs it now. There's also this one, which is great. It's the Certified New Home Specialist and Residential Construction Specialist. I'm going to show you a video on that. That's going to be the last slide. There's also this one through Ottawa. That's that group of appraisers that teach you how to do the CMA workshop. They teach you how to do the valuation of properties. Who better to teach you how to value a property than an appraiser? They'll do a better job at teaching you it than your broker will. But here's some other designations that are useful in taking, like the short sale foreclosure resource. This class I took years ago when it was run by the Sharfrin Institute, and it was way better than this one, but I don't know now. So yeah, this is the Certified Distressed Property Expert. It teaches you about short sales and foreclosures and gives all kinds of resources. ePro teaches you how to integrate technology in your real estate business and different technologies that are available to us, websites and other resources. CRS is a great designation if you're in residential real estate. CRS agents are big on training, and on average, they make a lot more money than your regular non-CRS real estate agent because of that training and their resources. And when you become a CRS agent, you become a member of their referral network. So CRS agents only refer to other CRS agents. Because, look, if you've got somebody that's moving to California, you know any good agents in California? You may not.
Mary Lou? Yeah.
But you could do a search through the CRS.
I'm going to send you 2 lease renewals that I need you to research and figure out if they were supposed to go out.
Okay. Let me mute that. Okay, so we have the CRS, we got the CRS agents. They give the referrals. You could search through their referral database to find another CRS agent, because on average, CRS agents are more likely to close a deal than a non-CRS agent. Okay. Then there's one called SRES. I don't have the exact link to it right here, but that's the Senior Real Estate Specialists. Learning how to deal with seniors. Maybe they're empty nesters now. The kids are all grown up and moved out. They don't need the big house anymore. It's time to sell it. But there's unique issues with seniors. How do you pack up all the stuff that they've collected over the years and get rid of those things or package them up to move them? What about getting financing to get the next place? This course covers all kinds of unique issues like that. So, but look, that's a good source of leads right there. When you have senior citizens, they don't need the big house anymore. You could help them sell a house that's a listing and then buy something new, maybe in a senior community or just another condo. You're helping them relocate. Okay. If you're serious about commercial real estate, you have the Certified Commercial Investment Member, or CCIM. Very few agents have that. If you want to go into commercial real estate, that should be your goal to get that designation. It consists of about 7 to 10 classes. I'm not sure exactly, but each one of them is probably about $1,000 at least for each one of those classes. But it's about 7 to 10 classes. And even after you finish those classes and pass their exams, you still cannot call yourself a CCIM agent, because this is one of those designations that have a performance requirement. They require you to have so many sales in different types of real estate, so many leases in different types of real estate before you could earn that designation. But once you've earned that designation, you're the lead. You're often the agent that would be the lead agent on these $100 million commercial deals. All right, but I have some links here through the NAR website as well as the New Jersey Realtors website that shows different kinds of designation courses that are offered. So let's look at the New Jersey Realtors website, see what they got there. Okay, they just got them listed like this. They don't show you the actual logos, but they talk about it. A lot of different, these are a lot of training and designation courses like Rennie. I got this one. I took this class. This is actually a 2-day class. The real estate negotiations expert. You have them for resorts and second home and property specialists, short sale foreclosures, smart homes, the real estate investing, the PSA, the pricing strategy. This is showing you how to do CMAs, etc., kind of like that Ottawa group would do. How about this? MRP, the military relocation specialist. You know, help our military families relocate, which they often have to do. You'll learn about the ins and outs of that. See, there's a lot of different things here. Here, at home with diversity. Getting a designation on that. I don't know how that's going to make you any money, but it'll help you, I guess, deal with the public and just show how in the real estate industry we are diverse. The real estate specialist. Here's one for Society of Industrial and Office Realtors, if you're dealing with office space and industrial properties. The seller's representative specialist. I actually took that one too. Residential accredited. Okay, not all of these apply to us too. Here, the GRI, they refer to this as the Graduate Realtor Institute. This could actually substitute taking the broker's class to get your broker's license. The Realtors Association refers to it as an advanced degree in real estate. Okay, you'll probably get a question like that in the end of this chapter, even though I don't even know if it's here at the end of this chapter anymore. You guys see GRI on one of the last couple pages here anywhere? I don't even know if they even got the blurb there. Under professional organizations, I guess it should be. I don't think they even have it there anymore, but they still got a question about it at the end. All right, anyway. There's all kinds of designation classes you could take through the New Jersey Realtors. Okay, they got their school that teaches these designation courses. There's that link for that. And you could also go to NAR's website, and they got all these designation courses as well, which you could probably take online. And here they show you the images of what their designation, when you get these professional designations, you could put these letters behind your name on your business cards or their logos. Okay. Accredited land specialist, the CCIM, certified international property specialist. You want to learn about international, you want to deal with international property sales? That's a unique, interesting one. Here, let me give you this. You know, the first international property sale that I did, it was a referral, and it was somewhere, I forget which country it was. It was somewhere in South America. I had somebody that was buying all cash. They knew where they wanted to buy already. I just need to hook them up with a real estate agent down there. So I gave it as a referral. You figure it'd be a no-brainer. So I asked for a higher commission split, a higher referral fee sent to me. See, this is if you hear about, you know, right now we hear a lot about Trump's tariffs, right? Because it used to be referred to as free trade, but there was nothing free about it for the United States. It's free for other countries to do business in the United States, but not for us. So President Trump, he was always talking about this equal trade or fair trade, not free trade. Free trade is not free for us. They charge us to do business in their countries, all these other countries, but we don't charge them anything. So this is why he's instituted these tariffs, because it's reciprocal. You know, you want to charge us to do business in your country, but we don't charge you. I don't care what your views are on this. The first time you do a real estate transaction, and they hold a whole boatload of your cash that you were supposed to get paid as your referral fee, or if you were actually traveling there and doing the business yourself. And they don't allow they take the money out of, they take their tariffs out of your money that's supposed to go to you, your pay, before it ever leaves their country. They won't ever allow the money to even be wired out of their country until they get a piece of it. So, I asked for a larger commission because I knew it was an easier transaction. And then when I got the check, I was like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell is this? The country that I gave the referral to, they took a 15% tariff. So they took 15% of all the money before I ever seen my commission, and I was just like, oh, this is some bullshit, so time to grow up. When you see that affecting your wallet, when you see it affecting your pay and your check, all of a sudden you're going to be, Trump may have something here with these equal trade or fair trade instead of that free trade nonsense. The first time it affects your transaction that you did work on and you referred that business, and then you don't get anywhere near what you thought you were going to get. Well, yeah. That's so learn about how doing business, how real estate works in different countries, and how the sales work in different countries by becoming a certified international property specialist. CPM, you're into property management. Here, you could take this course, the CPM, Certified Property Manager. That's actually a pretty good course. Certified Real Estate Broker Manager course. The CRS agent I was telling you about, counselors of real estate. Okay, this is for appraisers. How about green? Green energy, green buildings. This is a thing of the future, right? So take NAR's Green Designation Study course. GRI, the Graduate Realtor Institute. That's not for us. That's not for us.
Are you showing us something on the screen? Because it's not up right now.
Oh, man. So I was just showing you all these different courses right here. Thank you for bringing that to my attention there. So I basically was going through all of these different courses right here. Certified International Property Specialist, the CPM, Certified Real Estate Broker, Certified Residential Specialists. That doesn't apply. That doesn't apply. Green Energy, or green buildings, green real estate. Graduate Realtor Institute, doesn't apply to us, doesn't apply to us. That doesn't apply to us. Okay, seller representative specialist. Let's see, Society of Industrial and Office Realtors. This is for industrial and office space, commercial. Here's the senior real estate specialist. This is actually a pretty good designation. You could be done with it in a couple of hours. It's a cheap course, and you could actually make a lot of money out of it too. It gives you a new source of leads and of customers and clients dealing with the older people. At Home with Diversity classes. They don't offer this one anymore, BPO classes. That was actually a pretty good class to take, though. Learning how to do BPOs, the broker price opinions, and the lenders will pay you to do a valuation of properties. Or if you want to start a real estate team, somebody was asking about teams the other day. You could take a class like this, Certified Real Estate Team Specialist, to learn about the different and unique issues when starting and running a real estate team. You can make some decent money on that, having a team within your office. Digital marketing, social media specialist. I think that's a new one. And it's also one of the approved CRS courses, I guess. ePro. Home Finance Resource teaches you different about the math, about the different loan products, etc. inside sales agents, luxury home certification.
Sorry to ask.
Yeah.
On the seeds I was talking about the other day, on the seed printing on his logo, on his logo part, on his info, he has these certifications on them. We can put these certifications on business cards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you've earned them.
Okay.
So if you've taken these classes and you earned the designations, yes, you could put them on your business cards. Correct. And then your advertising, you could put just the letters, or you could put the logo, the little logos too. Makes you seem more professional too, I guess. I mean, I've taken a lot of these courses. I shouldn't say a lot. I've taken a couple of these courses, but just for my own knowledge and edification. I really don't use them still, because a lot of them, I take it for the education aspect of it. But in order to, like, if you take this class, for instance, the luxury home certification, you take this class, now you could take the logo and you could put it on your, this is not the logo for it, by the way. You could take the logo and you could put the logo on your business card. But in order to keep that designation, you need to keep paying them, the Realtors Association, every year, the same a fee, which could be hundreds of dollars, just to keep using that designation to keep it active. You're not taking any new classes or any new updates. You're just paying to keep the designation, right? So I take the class for my own edification, and then, I could care less about the logo. I got the knowledge now, so I use the knowledge to make the money. I could care less about the designation and paying a couple $100 for the next forever to just continue using that logo. But, I guess it looks professional, so some agents take it so that they can use these logos. Military relocation specialist, professional. This is great. We got a lot of military members and families in the military. They do relocate a lot. So this could actually help our patriots and their families with their relocations. How to price properties through the pricing strategies. Dealing with real estate investors. Here's a class just on that. How about becoming a negotiation specialist, learning all kinds of different negotiation tactics? This is a 2-day class I took. Resorts and vacation property specialists. Short sale foreclosures, smart homes. All right, we're done with that. So let's just move on to the next. By the way, all those resources, I sent you those links where you could see all those types of classes. This one is not a real, see, there's a couple here that are not realtors designation courses, like the CDPE and these new home certified and the CMA workshop. So here's the one for the certified new home specialist and certified residential construction specialist. And I think this group particularly, they have a new designation course as well. You'd have to go to their website to check it out, but the training's a little pricey, but it's much cheaper than when I took it back in the day. And they deliver it online now. For me, I actually got those books right next to me right now with on DVDs and CDs, and they sent me all the forms and such. So I got all that stuff actually right here, right next to me right now. But here, let her talk about it, because you could take these classes, spend the money on the course, and if you're not satisfied, they'll give you a full refund. It's a great course, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. I make no money off of this. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. Just here to help you guys and share some information. Okay, so.
Hi, I'm Teresa Walsh, and I want to thank you for taking a few minutes with me to learn about our national designation training, Residential Construction Certified and Certified New Home Specialist. Now, I know you're here because you want to learn about new home sales, new home opportunities out there. Well, I'm excited to tell you that our training is going to not only open your eyes to the opportunities in there in your market area, we're going to teach you how to do the business right. Because you know what? You don't get a second chance to make that first impression. One way you could get into the new homes arena is builder representation. We're going to teach you how to identify these small, medium-sized builders, how to sell your services to the builders, most importantly, be a success. So for example, if you find one of these small, medium-sized builders, they have 25, 35 home sites, you know you have 25, 35 paychecks coming your way. You can't do that in resale. Another massive opportunity in new homes is new home buyer representation. It's interesting. I talk to a lot of real estate professionals. We attend these national real estate conventions, and it doesn't occur to the majority of real estate professionals to market themselves as a new home buyer representative. Let's capture these buyers before they go to the builders. Be known as the go-to agent in new home sales. You can't sell a buyer what you're comfortable selling. You have to sell that buyer what's right for them. So many agents steer buyers to resale because they're not comfortable talking new homes. They don't want to wait for their commission. But again, it's all about building that pipeline, creating your referral business, because when you can demonstrate value to your buyers, you're going to get loyalty. They're going to tell their friends, and away you go, building a name for yourself and your market as the go-to agent for new homes. And one last massive opportunity is infill construction. This is tear down, rebuild opportunities. Investors are looking to invest their money in these projects. We're going to teach you how to identify the opportunities, how to package these deals, and participate in the success of these projects. So I've shared a few things with you today. I'm super excited to tell you that our training is all online. So it's available whenever you are. You create a username and password, log in whenever you want. If it's 20 minutes today, an hour next week. But when you're done with those full 22 hours of training, you've earned 2 national designations, Residential Construction Certified, which teach you all the parts and pieces of a home from the ground up. We're in an HGTV world. You need to understand the product that you're selling. Certified New Home Specialist is going to share some of the ideas I shared with you today and then some. We had a national organization do an independent study, and they found that agents that have our National Certified New Home Specialist designation on average earn $53,000 more per year. You have nothing to lose. We have a full 90-day money-back guarantee. That means go through the full 22 hours of training. If you are not thrilled, if you don't feel you're going to be able to go out there, make it happen, give us a call. We will give you a full refund. So I want to thank you again for spending a few minutes with me today. And I hope that you're going to look at investing in your future and taking new home sales and making it a part of your real estate career. Thank you again so much, and I wish you all the best.
And these are CRS approved designation courses too. Even though these are not NAR classes, they were created by this independent group. And they're good classes because they give you all kinds of marketing materials and contracts. They teach you about the construction of the real estate from the foundation up. They teach you how construction, the components of construction of real estate work too. They're very informative classes. If you were to click on that, let me minimize this a little bit here. Looks like they made it a lot more affordable by including these classes. Look at this, 2 payments for this amount just for the class. I don't think that includes any of the course materials, because these courses are a lot more money than this, when it includes all of the marketing materials and the contracts and all the other stuff. Otherwise, they tremendously lowered this price, because I paid close to $2,000 for this course, for these 2 classes, actually. So 1-time payment, or 2 monthly payments, or 4 monthly payments. Okay, so they got various plans now. Take a look at the different packages, though. There we go. Now it's starting to get there. So here we go. A residential new home specialist. Okay, so those 2 payments is going to get you there about $500. Normally, it's $850 for the course. No annual designation for the renewal fees once you've earned it. But if you upgrade to the next package here, You still got those 2 classes, but then they give you also all the marketing information. Certified New Home Specialist, okay, CNHS marketing tools and lifetime access to the marketing tools. That's almost as much as the class itself, right? So that just brought it up a couple $100 more. But still, when I took this course, it was a lot more money here. See, they're showing you those retail prices. Well, the retail was even higher than that. I told you I paid close to $2,000 for the course and the information I got here. And residential remodeling specialist suits. Looks like this one's the more expensive one. Let's see. Okay, they got other packages. They got more information. Turnkey agent. Okay, this is for 3 designation classes. Certified New Home Specialist, Certified Remodeling Specialist, and Certified Construction Certified. So the Remodeling Specialist is the new one. Yeah. And then if you want it with also all the marketing materials and tools, then it goes up to about $1,200. But they'll break it down into payments for you now too. And they give you 100% refund there if you're not happy with it. So not a bad deal. Take the class, learn about it. You know, pretty good deal there. All right. That's it for chapter 3. We're done with chapter 3. Let's do the key terms to review, and then we'll break for lunch. What do you say? Ready? Let's do the key terms to review. There are 4 key terms to review for this chapter. Let's start off with key terms to review number 1. Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Regulations prohibiting price fixing.
Antitrust.
Yes, antitrust laws. 2 is A. Principal who engages an agent.
A client. C.
That's your client. Yep, 6 is B. Agent who takes a buyer as the principal.
B. 5. C.
The buyer's broker. 5 is C, correct. Person authorized by another to act under a power of attorney.
3, attorney in fact.
When in fact they're not an attorney, correct. 3 is D. Third party in a transaction, not the principal.
Customer.
They're a customer. 9 is E. A written explanation of business relationships.
CSI.
Yep.
CIS.
CIS. There you go. Consumer information statement. 8 is F. Broker's usual compensation.
Commission.
7 is G, commission, correct. Now, these last 2, I think they got them mixed up. But let's go through. One who's authorized to act for another in a real estate transaction and receive compensation.
Agent.
So one is H.
Broker.
See, they have it listed as 1 as H, but I think it should be broker. I think broker is more appropriate for that one. And one authorized to act for another. They have that listed as broker, but I think that one should be agent. Now, why? What's the difference between these 2? Why
they don't
Yeah,
they
go
don't
ahead.
pay us, they pay the broker.
Yeah, only the broker's authorized to charge the public services fees for the services performed. So one who's authorized to act for another in a real estate transaction and receive compensation, yeah, that would be the broker. 4 is I. And simply one who's authorized to act for another, we refer to them as an agent. So I would switch those 2 because I think that's wrong the way that they have it. They have it in reverse. I think 4 should be H and 1 should be I, even though the book has it the reverse. Okay, key terms 2. Revealing to another any pertinent information. What do we call that?
Disclosure.
Yep, disclosure. 1 is A. Salesperson whose broker pays their Social Security and regulates their hours, etc.
Employee.
That's an employee. 3 is B. Person who enjoys the trust of another to act in the person's best interest.
Principal.
Yes. 8 is C, the principal. Agency representing both the seller and the buyer.
Dual agency.
That's dual agency. 2 is D. Party who represents another in a fiduciary relationship.
Fiduciary.
They're called a fiduciary. 4 is E. Intentional misleading of another who is thereby harmed.
Fraud.
That's fraud. 6 is F. A special relationship of trust and confidence between a principal and an agent.
Fiduciary relationship.
That's a fiduciary relationship. 5 is G. One who is empowered to act for a wide range of actions.
General.
That's a general agent. 7 is H. Okay, key terms 3. Everybody got all those? Anybody missing anything they needed to get?
No.
Okay. Key terms 3. One who facilitates a transaction without functioning as an agent.
Transaction broker.
Transaction broker.
Correct. 16 is A. 16 is A, transaction broker. One authorized to act for another in a specific transaction.
Principal.
Or how about this? One authorized to act for another in a specific transaction to operate in one capacity only. Word it that way.
Special agent.
A special agent. 14 is B. Illegal sharing of a commission with a seller.
Recurring cost.
Illegal sharing of a commission with a seller.
Kickback?
Yes, a kickback. 2 is C. Rules governing conduct of agents.
Law of agency.
4 is D, law of agency. Agreement between a buyer and a seller on major points.
Meeting of the minds.
Meeting of the minds.
They've come to a meeting of the minds. 6 is E, as in Edward. Written authorization allowing one person to act on behalf of another.
Power of attorney.
8 is F, power of attorney. The one employing an agent, the client.
Principal.
They're the principal. 9 is G. The one who brings about the sale. And therefore,
procuring cause.
Yep, the procuring cause. 10 is H. An agent of an agent is a
subagent.
There you go. Agent of an agent is a subagent. 15 is I. Contract by which the owner retains a broker to find a buyer.
Independent contract.
Listing agreement.
A listing agreement. 5 is J. Harmless exaggeration as part of salesmanship.
Puffing.
Puffing is correct. 11 is K. Salesperson who sets their own hours, pays their own estimated income taxes, etc.
Independent contractor.
Independent contractor.
1 is L, correct. Problem not discoverable by a normal prudent inspection. Further investigation is required.
Latent defect.
It's a latent defect. Latent means hidden, so more investigation would be required for that. 3 is M, as in Michael. Person licensed to assist a real estate broker.
Salesperson.
Salesperson.
Yeah, I hope you get that one right. 13 is N. Legislation requiring that communities be alerted to the presence of convicted sex offenders.
Megan's Law.
Megan's Law.
Megan's Law. 7 is O. One qualified and prepared to purchase.
Ready, willing, and able buyer.
That would be correct. 12 is P, a ready, willing, and able buyer. Turn the page. And before we get started in this last fourth key terms to review, at the end of line C, write NAR, NAR. At letter G, cross out the word fraud and write unintentional misrepresentation above it.
I'm sorry, you said right what when you cross out fraud?
Unintentional misrepresentation.
Thank you.
All right. Next, the letter H. Cross out the word fraud and replace it with the word misrepresentation. The book, for some reason, loves to define words with itself. All right, and that's it. So, if everybody's got that, let's start key terms 4. Unintentional deception committed in ignorance.
Innocent misrepresentation.
Don't sound too innocent when they word it like that, though, right? You're ignorant. 6 is A. Real estate equivalent of malpractice coverage.
E&O insurance.
That would be correct. 3 is B. Member of a private national organization. NAR. Who is the member?
Realtors.
Wait, who is the member?
Realtor.
Realtor, correct. 10 is C. Statewide group of real estate licensees who choose to join.
NAR.
9.
Statewide group. That would be, 9 is D, New Jersey Realtors.
Okay.
That's the statewide group. Designation awarded for advanced study.
Go to ethics.
5.
The Graduate Realtor Institute. 5 is E, the GRI, they call it. 5 is E, as in Edward. Problem when serving best interest of both the client and yourself.
Conflict of interest.
2 is F. Unintentional misrepresentation committed by someone who should have known better.
Negligent misrepresentation.
8 is G. That is correct. Intentional misrepresentation.
Fraudulent.
4 is H. Fraudulent misrepresentation. Correct. Competence normally expected.
Standard of care.
That's the standard of care. 11 is I. Standards of conduct adopted by realtors.
Code of
ethics.
We have to follow that code of ethics. 1 is J. And a private nationwide organization of brokers and salespeople.
NAR.
That's NAR, the National Association of Realtors. 7 is K. And that concludes that long chapter of chapter 3. All right, so let me